Andrew Bird,
Hello.
welcome.
Not to do this again.
I can only apologise for the quality of the coffee.
Well, that's what we like about it. At least they pay their taxes.
That is true, yeah.
I'd rather drink this.
We did do one in Starbucks once, and I thought that we get mauled by the public, you know.
Well, you should. I mean, this is a sweet-tasting, tax-paying coffee, is what it is.
Is it fair trade, though? I mean,
I very much doubt that.
well, that's arguably the most important thing. So
yeah,
we've got to keep that in mind.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
I'll tell you what, it's a moral dilemma ordering a coffee these days, isn't it?
It is. It is ever more troublesome.
Yeah. Spend days, if you don't have to, but you spend days before your gig, sometimes trying not to drink. You spend days trying to write in pubs or stuff like that, somewhere you can sit and try and write, and you run out of options of non-alcohol drinks. Top tip, cranberry and soda. Oh,
really?
Cheeky little number. Yeah,
cranberry
very nice.
I've never even thought about mixing the two.
You may get judged at night time if you order it, but in the day, it's a good solid non-alcoholic drink.
So why are you not wanting to drink? Why is that
in
important?
the day?
Well,
what, before doing a gig?
Well, you said like for a few days beforehand, you're trying not to have an alcohol.
Not a few days before, okay. But although I did give up drinking for Edinburgh last year completely for 3 months, and it was a combination of I've got a child, I'm married, and I had to earn money to do Edinburgh. So the days I had off to write my show were so few that I thought I can't even risk losing a morning with a hangover. And my hangovers like comas. Seriously, I can walk past an off licence and get a hangover. Just for days. So I just thought I can't risk it. Just can't risk having a hangover. So I gave up drinking. It just carried on until. And I didn't drink for the whole of Edinburgh, which surely I should get some kind of plaque or an award. There must be a Chortle Award for that. But then it got to the end. I'm ashamed to admit this, but when I got home, my wife wasn't back. She'd gone to Slovakia. She's Slovakian, and I didn't realise this, but I kept thinking, how come she books her flight for a day after I get home? And I now realise it, so I get home, clean the house, and it's all ready for her. And I went, why does that keep happening? She went, yeah, I do that intentionally. Scum. But you should never call your wife scum. But so I'm on my own, I've cleaned, and I'm exhausted, and I'm emotional after Edinburgh. I thought, I'm having a drink, and that's when I started drinking again. And I got hammered with like only about 6 cans of lager, but I was hammered.
In your house?
Yeah, on my own, in my house, with an Oasis DVD on full blast, like I'm in a mosh pit in my living room. And then, like, self-harming. I was, sort of thought, how bad was my Edinburgh? I don't read reviews, but I was so drunk, I read all my Edinburgh reviews. But I was so drunk in the morning, couldn't remember any of them. So I don't know if it was good or bad. I don't know, but I'm glad I don't remember any anyway.
But I mean, is your idea of how it went a better judgment on how Edinburgh went than reading reviews?
Yeah, surely it is. But it wouldn't. Even if all the reviews were glowing, it wouldn't have helped.
That's true.
How I felt about it this year. But yeah. So no, I don't think you can get a good reflection on your show from reading reviews. But equally, you can't from my own opinion of it, because you're too precious about it. It's not until about 4 or 5 months later you go, some bits were alright, I'll probably try to overwrite it and try, what's it all about? When you forget, no one really cares about that. Being funny is probably quite important.
It's difficult, isn't it? Well, because you want to come up with a good show, I guess, but then it's the spin up. Do you have a big kind of
theme and story and arc,
or something you want the show to people to come away with, or I think making it. I mean,
only in Edinburgh is that sort of important. You never buy a stand-ups DVD. I think, I wonder what the arc's going to be to this. I wonder what this show's going to be like. What are they going to say? Have they discovered something about themselves? This is what I want to know.
Well, I don't know the best stand-ups, Mike.
Well, yeah, but I've never watched a Billy Connolly DVD and thought he really discovered something about himself by the end of that, and there was a good conclusion. I mean, essay-wise, that was sound. But then, if you watch Rod Gilbert, you do go, "Whoa!" At the story and the arc and all the bits, and you go, "Wow, that's probably how he should write a show."
Because you warmed up for Rod, did you?
Yeah, I did warm up for him for about a year or so, something like that. But and that was, to be honest, I think that really affected one of my Edinburgh shows, because if you watch how good he is night after night, it's hard not to go, there should be some kind of arc to my show. And that's a stupid thing to try and write as well as Rod Gilbert. It's not stupid, it's a good thing to aspire to do, but no, he's mental, isn't he? He's one off.
He is, he is very good. I mean, was your material kind of reflecting the way he did his stuff, or was it still very much you? And
well, that's probably part of my problem. One of the reasons Rod Gilbert is so good as well is he's really definitely found his voice. It's very, you can just, I don't think I have. So when you say, is your material you, I haven't got a clue. Don't know. No, I haven't really found my voice. I think most of the brilliant comedians you could describe in one sentence. I don't think you could me. Maybe a word. But
so your voice, in terms of you're an angry comic, or you're
yeah, exactly. Like Rod Gilbert, you'd maybe say, I don't know, ranting, contrary comedian, but I don't know how I'd describe. So I don't think. But then I think that's why everyone loves Louis C.K. so much, because he's an example of somebody who took a good 15 years or something to find his voice, and he's like he's a beacon of hope for a lot of comedians. Well, look how good he is, and it took him 15 years before he even started getting like that. So that's the sort of that's the inspiration / excuse I use.
Well, maybe that's it, and that everyone will get that good just as long as they stick at it long enough. I don't know. Yeah,
well, I think now, like, everything should be like that, but now it's not. Now it's really the kind of the new young who's been, you could be going 2-3 years now and have a DVD out, and that's good in some ways, but it's I suppose stand-up, it should take quite a while, unless you're lucky, like people like Josh Widdicombe. He sort of found his voice very, very quickly, that must be great.
It's a completely different. It's just changed immeasurably, I think, isn't it? Just because it's unthinkable that would have happened a few years ago.
Well, yeah, I remember sort of from when I became sort of obsessed with stand-up. I remember at Christmas, the Christmas videos that were out, and you could count them on 2 hands or 1 hand twice. It was always Billy Connolly, Lee Evans, Eddie Izzard, Ross Noble, Al Murray towards the end, like later on. Ardlo Hanlon, I remember he had one. Lee Hurst. So there was about 10 at the most. And now it's about 40, 50 or something like that.
And it's difficult. I think the DVD thing is difficult just because I don't know how much stand-up suits DVD, personally.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. There's some people that I think are amazing, and then you watch their DVD,
you watch it once. I don't know. It's maybe not something you go back to like a film.
Yeah, no, there are some stand-up. Buying a stand-up DVD is quite a risk, I always find.
Yeah.
I've bought a lot of them, and there's some where you watch it and think, I will never watch that again. I'll never sit through that again, even if it's somebody you like. And then there's ones that I think, well, I'm going to be addicted to that for the next 3 months. Telling everyone to buy it. I remember Steve Merchant's was one recently that I must have watched good 5-6 times. I loved it.
It's very much a piece, though, isn't it? It's like you can tell that it's been worked on. You know, whereas maybe if people are churning them out every year, it's something less. You kind of that you settle down and watch. But
I wish some of the brilliant stand-ups would do like the Apollo is a great venue, but it just seems everyone's doing their DVD. It's always, you know,
and it's not a good venue for comedy. I don't think. If you were going to choose, I don't think you'd.
Well, yeah, I think it's a bit big, and there's just from watching Rod on tour, and like literally some of the he's a cat that looks like Nicholas Lyndhurst tour. Some of the theatres I saw his show in, I'm not exaggerating. You could feel the balcony vibrating with the laughter and the atmosphere, and it was unbelievable. And the callbacks to that show, me and his a bloke who drives for him sometimes, Rick, we used to watch it at the back like that, and it was like watching. We described it. It's like watching a heavyweight boxer land about 9 punches in a row, where you go, oh, and his DVD is brilliant and that, but you can never capture that atmosphere in the Hammersmith Apollo. I don't think. I don't know.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to be said for an intimate venue. I think there's a reason that it's always been in cellars and, intimate, and everyone's around you.
There's what is it? The Bracknell Comedy Club. Catherine, who runs that, she's really nice. She said it's the perfect comedy club. Like it's most people's favourites on their top 5 because it is in a cellar, low ceiling. And she always says, "So what you like about the Victorians? They knew how to design a comedy club."
Oh, it's excellent. Yeah. And I heard Stuart Lee actually say something about how, you know, the Stand in Edinburgh, that is everyone's favourite room, but it's a really odd shape.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like because there's that
3 rooms.
Well, yeah, because there's that bit along the side, and then
the bit there.
Those people can't see that, but because of the atmosphere, it's so much.
Because of the low ceiling, I always find that quite a tough gig because sometimes it's what moany comedians are. You constantly moan about this is terrible for stand up. Well, look, and then you go into some of the gigs like that are like really good, and you go, oh no, if this is bad, then it's only me that can be blamed for this. It feels more pressure. At least you can't have a bad gig there and go. The lighting, but no, it was good, wasn't it? Yeah, just me. Clearly, just me. Then.
So you don't like it because you don't have any excuses.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I need an excuse.
Well, no, I think that's a valid point, isn't it? Yeah. And you can't judge blame it on the audience either, because they're always very nice.
Yeah. How dare they?
So when you go to Edinburgh now, where are you performing? What sort of rooms?
What sort of rooms?
Or is it just? The sort of 50-seater kind of.
Oh right, I thought you wanted me to describe the rooms. All of them not suited for comedy. I actually did. Not the last one I did. The one before was 60.
Yeah,
which was really nice. The balcony in the Gilded Balloon, really nice. And then the one just gone, I did the billiard room. Not so nice. It was because it was supposed to. I was told it was 90 or something, and they changed the room round. It was down one end, and they changed it like that, so the whole audience were the whole length of the room. And
I've been in there.
And it's already a pretty big room, and it went from 90 to 100 and something, which is a big leap in Edinburgh. And there was a big walkway down the middle, walkway around the sides. See, I need an excuse. I had a lot in that room. There was an alleyway next to it, so you could hear people emptying bottles every 10 minutes. And they say about the noise leakage of rooms in Edinburgh, which you expect, but above me there was a show of a drum kit. So, all in all, it was a perfect storm of crap. And it was 10 to 7 as well. I wanted between 7 and 8, and they said 7. I was like, alright, that's right on the limit. And then it got to it, and they went, it's 10 to 7. And psychologically, again, this is petty. This shows how petty comedians are, but it's a big difference. That 10 minutes. If you say to someone you're coming out at 7, no, you're alright. You say to someone you're coming out at 6:50, I'm having me dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you feel that the audience expectations are maybe slightly different. There's definitely times like, I don't know, 4 o'clock is sketch time on the Fringe, isn't it?
There's those unwritten rules.
But I mean, stuff like that, do you ever kind of think, well, is it really worth it? I don't know, with the whole Edinburgh thing. Just because there's so much emphasis on it.
Yeah.
And I just think...
I'm the wrong person to ask about this.
But yeah, I mean, just more and more people are kind of... That's what they have to do, and they almost feel like they're being squeezed more and more and more.
Yeah,
and there's more and more comics.
I love the question, is Edinburgh worth it? You ask me that like I've never considered it. I thought that hourly for a month during August. I'm writing a new hour this year, but I'm not doing Edinburgh. I'm writing a new hour of stand-up to be a better stand-up, and the materials for me to do at gigs and be a better stand-up, rather than I'm writing an hour for Edinburgh. Because, I mean, but it annoys me in some ways when people go, and I've said it myself, and you go, oh, Edinburgh's good because it makes you write. It's like, well, you shouldn't have to lose $7,000 to write. I mean, you could go and live in Australia for a month and write, and do open spots and write an hour, and that would be cheaper than doing Edinburgh. And it's not all about the money, but it's certainly not. What else is it about now?
Oh no, it's a complete. It is, and the amount of money that people lose is just. It's horrible. I slightly resentful as well. I missed the birth of my first child because I was in Edinburgh, and that's quite tough. The year just gone was like his first birthday, and missed his first birthday as well. Not nice being on stage. You can hear a drum kit above you, bottles being emptied, and thinking, oh, I missed my son's first birthday. Lovely. And I remember a woman brought her child into the gig. She had a 1-year-old, so he was pretty much the same age as my son, into the gig. And I said to her, at the start, I went, oh, and I said, Wah! And I went, now that's not the sound of an adult. I said, is that a baby? And she said, yeah. And I went, is there an age limit on my show? Sure, it's 14, isn't it? I mean, that way off. So did the store staff not say anything? She went, yeah. Well, what did they say? She said, they said leave the pushchair downstairs. Oh, they're on it. So I don't know, but to be fair, what a child. I did the whole show. I think in an hour, the baby went twice. I mean, that's better than a lot of adults. So, but I did say to her, thanks very much for this, madam. I'm trying to take my mind off the fact I've missed my son's first birthday. And what do? You bring a baby to the show. Yeah. No, I absolutely see. I think maybe people are it's getting to the point where Edinburgh's too big and it's just gonna.
Yeah, I think people sort of. A lot of people are saying that, but I don't think they. I think it's a bit cheeky. They're going to have to change the name. You can't call it the Edinburgh Fringe anymore. You can't call it a fringe festival when there's millionaire comedians popping up to do a week. It's not a fringe anymore, is it? It's So like I said, wrong person to ask. I've got a horrific attitude, and I'll tell you my theory. You may need to cut this out. My theory is, and people might not like me saying this, but I think Edinburgh. Possibly. Now, I love Edinburgh as a city. My family's from Edinburgh. My mum's from Edinburgh. But for a comedy festival, I think it's possibly the worst city on the planet to have a comedy festival. Nothing to do with weather or hills, none of that normal rubbish. The fact that the demographic is made up of middle-aged, middle-class, white Scottish people and posh, white English students. Mainly white people is what I'm saying. That is not a fair demographic. If you look out at the audience and it's just middle class white people, and who else can afford to go to Edinburgh? I don't know anyone who goes to Edinburgh and goes to see 5 shows in a day at a tenner a go. It's not a normal demographic. That's my theory, anyway.
It's one of the wisest things I've heard.
People might inverted racism, what I've just said there. But
thank you very much for the interview. It's perfect. Thank you.
We're finishing on me slagging off Edinburgh.
Yeah, I think that's the best way. I don't think there's any other way.
No. I mean, if I've got any other racial theories, I'll come back to you.